Hi, everyone. It's Jeanne Alleva. Happy winter from Pennsylvania. I wanted to come on here fresh out of the snow because I had the craziest morning. It was so strange. I excuse my attire. I just wanted to capture this while I was still in the moment. I did take a moment to breathe and decompress before I came on because it was a little crazy. But anyway, some of you know that I have a little vintage booth, so I'm always looking for really cool vintage things, vintage jewelry, just signage, just different things. And I had bid on some auctions this weekend. And when you bid on an auction, you have to sign an agreement that says, I agree to pick up this item at this time. I agree to pay for it, all of those things. And it's a signed document, it's a contract. And I take those things quite seriously. And I'm usually very good about arriving early if I can and picking up my item and being responsible. And it's very important to me. So this weekend, I agreed to these auctions and I did win some items. I didn't realize that we were going to have a snowstorm when I woke up this morning. Pardon me. So today I am dedicating this little story to finding treasure in the unexpected. And this journey takes us on a little bit of a circuitous ride, but it's all about finding treasure, finding something good in whatever happens, even if it's crazy and disrupting and even treacherous. So today I stayed committed to my agreement, my responsibility, and against all discussion of whether I should go or not in the snowstorm, I did look online and see whether they had canceled the pickup. They had not. So there probably is a deadline. Some of these auctions are set up so that a house needs to be cleared out by a certain deadline, and there is no plan B, there is no rain date. It just has to happen. So I honored that. And I thought I'll just drive slow and cautiously. And just so you know, before we get started here, I'm obviously unharmed. Nothing bad happened. So we can say that. So anyway, what I wanted to say about this is sometimes things happen that put us in a position of making a decision. Do I just say, oh, I'm not going to go because there's a little bit of inclement weather, or you have to make these choices, stick to your values, or make a conscious choice that it is not worth me getting in my car in this kind of weather. It's not worth my life. But then you leave a problem on the other end, right? You leave something for someone else to clean up if you don't show up. So anyway, that's the build up to this story. So my point here is that this was a day of looking for the good, looking for the helpers. As Mr. Fred Rogers, who had a TV show in the US, his mother advised him once when he was wondering about, sort of like a why do bad things happen in the world, calamities, cataclysms. And she said, when bad things happen in the world, look for the helpers, look for the people who are helping the wounded or helping to clear the roads and all of that. So today for me was filled with that, even though the day turned out very stressful for many reasons. When I got to this auction pickup, it was a single road. It was just a back country road. It was a single road, very narrow, snowstorm, right? Cars coming trying to navigate this road. And when we got there, there were only so many cars that could go into the house's driveway. And so they had to route us around a neighbor's yard, and tree limbs were down, and it was just crazy. Some of these cars were really big and trying to fit in these tight spaces. Some people were getting upset, like, I just need to pick up my things and go, and I totally get that. I totally get that. But I stayed very calm and observed what was happening. And I noticed that even though this situation was so unfortunate, nobody expected there to be a snowstorm. Nobody expected it to be so tight and no way to turn around, and you got all your stuff and all of those complications. I looked at the ladies. It was the ladies in particular that were running the auction. Not only were they standing out in the snow themselves to direct people, but they were professional, they were positive, they were extremely focused. They knew exactly how to tell a car to back up a certain way so that they didn't hit a wall or whatever. These are like the practical things you don't really think about. But these women were so great. And when I've got into the house to pick up my items, they were positive, they were calm, they were, and they were dealing with all sorts of things, right? I was just so impressed by that. And so as I'm leaving, I was having a white knuckle moment because my car, and you're on an incline and it's snowing and there's very tight turns. I was very nervous about hitting something or not being able to get out or having, God forbid, having to back up if some other car was coming down the road. All of these things, you can feel my stress, right? I stopped as I was leaving and I said to the lady there that was out in the snow, I said, I just want to say thank you. You guys are doing a great job. This is not easy. And so she goes, we're getting a lot of grief. So I could just see how people had complained and it was stressful and they're just trying to do their job. And I just saw I was just so grateful that they were there and doing such a wonderful job. So that was helper helper situation number one. Then as I'm driving home, the road was not too bad coming back from Philadelphia, but once I got into Valley Forge Park, the roads became ice. Car it, I'm going to get a little upset. The cars were sliding all over, the car in front of me sliding back, trying to wave me on, just like really stressful. And so many situations of help that I was able to observe in that situation were the obvious, the plows, the salt trucks, the cinder trucks, the people that were in big cars that could probably pull around and leave were allowing plenty of space for people that were struggling. I considered that very respectful and just a really wonderful thing. These that I consider that a helper, someone who realizes that the car in front of them is having difficulty and they stay back. So by the time I got home, let me tell you, was so relieved. Sadly, I have to do this again tomorrow. So please pray for the plows, the salt trucks, and everything like that to be there, for the helpers to be there, and for people to remain calm. I just wanted to share this moment of finding treasure in the unexpected. Nobody expected the snowstorm and the squalls and all of that, or the icy roads, but people were there doing their jobs, helping each other. There's so much good to be found, even in situations that are difficult and scary even. And if you can get through it with a calm spirit and gratitude, such gratitude for those who are helping, those who are going to stay up all night and salt these roads, I am very, very grateful. So today, as you're going about your day, no matter what your weather, no matter what's going on, no matter you stub your toe, anything that could happen, take a moment before you grumble and say, I'm okay. And I'm grateful that I'm still standing. So, anyway, thank you all so much for listening. Have a fantastic day.